also it wasn't just a one-time roll of the dice where, we're going to, do something different next year. I mean, those three guys are in our plans, and, feel good about how it's evolving and how it's worked out. And we had long conversations about how the three big guys would play together. And, they're all playing 40 to 45 snaps a game. And, right now it's really working out.
Do the Dallas Cowboys have the best interior D-line in the entire NFL? Before I get into the details of why I think the Cowboys are on track to dominate the A-gap, the B-gap, and I'll tell you about all what that means here in a second. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow the Boss Cowboys Sports Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and now X. You can follow me, the OC100, on X.
This stream is brought to you by Sleep Out. Go for a Hail Mary on your sleeper picks and win up to 100 times your money. Use promo code BCS and Sleeper will 100% match your first deposit up to $100 instantly. All right, guys, so check this out, man. Let's talk about the dynamic trio that we now have with Quentin Williams, Kenny Clark, and Osa Odighizuwa on the interior three for the Dallas Cowboys, and what makes them so good and why I believe we could have a super force on the inside of this defense that will help propel and carry us to the playoffs. So, guys, let's take a look, first of all, at the narrative, right? The narrative with the Cowboys has been for years that we haven't had big guys inside that could stop you from running the ball inside versus the Cowboys. If you follow this channel and you follow the Dallas Cowboys in particular, you would understand that a lot of bad things, especially when you get to the playoffs, and that's the key point, especially when you get to the playoffs, happens because of our inability to stop the run, in particular on the interior of the offensive line. All right. And so to explain, before I get into my points, when I say A gap and B gap, I'm talking about the A gap, which is the gap between the center and the guard on both sides. Okay. That's A gap. B gap is the gap between the guard and the tackle. All right. So you have center, guard, tackle. All right. So those are your interior gaps. C gap is outside of tackle, which is considered mid or outside gap. D gap will be beyond the tight end to the sideline, so on and so forth. So what you've had the last three games is a healthy trend. And the healthy trend I'm talking about is rush yards allowed versus the Las Vegas Raiders. All right. We gave up less than 29 yards rushing. All right. And then versus the Philadelphia Eagles, we were around, I apologize, in inverse. We gave roughly less than 60 some odd yards rushing versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Also, we gave low rush yards versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And then in this game, we gave up over 100. All right. And so those numbers, to be exact, would average out the last few games would be less than 75 yards rushing by the opposing team, less than that on an average. All right. And I'll talk about the importance of that because we got Quentin Williams in the building several weeks ago, and what his ability to cause havoc inside has done has caused teams to have to change their running scheme and concepts, meaning that you no longer can run traps on the inside. You no longer can go power successfully. Power is just when you try to blow the other person off the ball. You can't go power successfully versus the Cowboys. All right. You can't go G traps. You can't even really run an effective zone because the three guys that we have, Osa is athletic. Kenny Clark is powerful and athletic. Quentin Williams is powerful and athletic. It's going to be very hard to run the football inside. So you're going to be left with a combination of things. You're going to have to run pin and pull, which basically means that your tackle or a tight end is blocking down and either a guard or a tackle is pulling around to be a lead blocker for an outside run play.
Furthermore, you can just run toss, you can just run pitch, you can just run jet. You're going to be relegated to outside runs versus the Cowboys. And this was evident as we got deep into the game, especially versus the Chiefs, on how they were ineffective running the ball late in the game. And they had the result because they got down to a passing attack. And so when you see the Dallas Cowboys defense versus starting with the Las Vegas Raiders give up below 50 yards rushing, they're taking a lot of stuff away. They're forcing you to throw the football and complete passes. When you see how effective we were versus the run versus the Philadelphia Eagles, who pride themselves with Saquon Barkley, all right, being able to run the football, you take a lot of stuff away. You make the offense one-dimensional. And then they had a little bit more success. And the reason why they had more success, the Chiefs rushing for 119 yards, was because we had a short week. And those extra few days of rest are going to be very critical as you get deeper in the season. So the Cowboys had a very short week. They were not as sharp physically on the inside as they normally are. And so that's why the Chiefs had success. So with that being said, when you break down the contribution of each defensive lineman that we have now, it's impossible to double team any of them. If they're all on the field, you can't double team anybody. So you got a one-on-one matchup with Kenny Clark. That's going to be a problem. You got a one-on-one matchup with Quentin Williams. That's going to be a problem. You got a one-on-one matchup with Osi Odigizua, which is out of the three. I mean, man, he's quick and disruptive. He's more of the purest pass rushing defensive tackle that we have, but the other two are really good as well. And these guys play leverage football, meaning this: they don't play high. They get underneath your pads. And these guys basically make it extremely hard to create push and to create any type of movement when you're talking about blocking them, blowing them off the ball. Like that stuff, for the most part, it's not happening. So now what we got is a trio of defenders that is built for the playoffs. And I believe the Cowboys will make the playoffs. And when they do, the Cowboys are a sleeping giant because of these three people I just mentioned. The Cowboys get in the playoffs deeper in this season. The Cowboys are going to become increasingly difficult to run the ball against. And on the playoffs, that translates to victories. That translates to advancing. I'm telling you, you heard it here first. So these guys are doing a good job and they're beginning to gel, and we got some games left. So these guys are going to continue to get better and better as they go. The only thing that the Cowboys have to do now is be sure that we have solid gap integrity with those linebackers, and that we're just responsible enough in the secondary not to get torched with big plays. If the Cowboys can reel in some of the big plays and just stay in front of their man, or play in a zone, or trick the offense a little bit to where you're not giving up big explosive passing plays, it's going to get harder and harder for teams to be effective versus these Cowboys, and extremely confident that that's the case. All right, guys. So let me know if you think we got the best interior three defenders in the entire NFL. I personally think that we do. And I think that with their development, it'll get better and better from here. All right, guys. So let me know what you think about the video. A salute, and we'll talk soon.